The story begins with a car mechanic named Gray, who is repairing a car in his garage. The car belongs to one of his regular customers, and today he has to return it. As Gray locks up the garage and drives off to deliver the car, his wife Asha arrives in her AI automatic car. Asha's car is extremely advanced. It drives entirely through voice commands, without needing to touch the steering wheel. But Gray doesn't like AI technology at all. He believes these robotic machines will one day become a great threat to humanity. On the other hand, Asha works for a major AI company. The two have completely opposite views about technology, but they deeply love each other. Gray says to her, "Come on, I want you to meet someone. He's a regular customer. I just repaired his car, and I need to return it." At first, Asha refuses, but after Gray insists several times, she agrees. What Gray doesn't know is that by taking Asha there, he's about to make the biggest mistake of his life. The two set off in the car, with Asha's automatic car following behind so that once Gray delivers the customer's car, they can both return home. When they arrive, Gray introduces Asha to a man named Aaron. Asha is surprised. Aaron is the owner of a massive tech company that builds AI automatic systems. Asha says, "Why didn't you tell me earlier that you were bringing me to meet Aaron?" It turns out Aaron is Gray's regular client, but Aaron has a strange personality. He lacks even basic social manners. Asha says, "I also work for an AI tech company. Soon we'll be competing with yours." Aaron smiles slightly and replies, "That'll never happen. Let me show you why." He takes them into his private lab, where he shows them a special AI chip called STEM. He says, "This chip can do anything. It has so much processing power that no human has ever created a machine like it." Amazed by the invention, Gray and Asha leave for home. Their car is in automatic mode. The two are sitting in the back seat, enjoying a romantic moment, when suddenly the car swerves off its route and begins driving down another road. Gray immediately notices that something's wrong. Asha commands the car to return to the home route, but the car replies, "System malfunction detected." Gray tries to manually apply the brakes, but the car doesn't stop. In fact, it speeds up. They both panic, trying desperately to regain control, but the car hits a speed breaker and flips over. Luckily, both survive the crash. As they struggle to crawl out of the wrecked car, another vehicle arrives and stops nearby. 4 men step out and drag Gray and Asha out of the car. A police drone hovering above records everything, but the attackers' faces appear blurred. Gray assumes they're robbers and pleads, "Please, let us go. Take the car, take the money, just don't hurt us." But the men don't listen. One of them shoots Asha. Gray is in shock. His entire world collapses in front of his eyes. He screams, but the attackers hit him too, shooting him in the back of the neck before leaving him to die. Gray survives, but he can no longer move. Right before his eyes, Asha dies. Moments later, the police arrive. Asha's body is sent for post-mortem, and Gray is taken to the hospital. After 3 months of treatment, Gray's life is saved, but he's now completely paralyzed. The bullet shattered his spinal cord, leaving him paralyzed from the shoulders down. 3 months later, Gray returns home, confined to a wheelchair. Except for his head, his entire body is lifeless. A home assistant robot takes care of his daily needs, while his mother looks after him. Life has now become a burden for Gray. Those 4 killers didn't just take away his wife, they destroyed his entire world. He burns with the fire of revenge. The only thing keeping him alive is the hope that someday he'll see his wife's killers behind bars. He visits the police station and asks, "Have you found the people who killed my wife?" The detective replies, "Not yet. The drone footage was too blurry. We're still investigating." Hearing that, Gray feels deeply disappointed. For months, the police have said the same thing. "We're investigating." His hope shatters completely. He no longer wants to live. One night, Gray uses his home AI system to overdose on medication. He falls unconscious, but the house's AI automatically alerts an ambulance and his life is saved. Later, Aaron visits him and says, "I feel terrible seeing you like this. Remember that powerful AI chip I showed you? If I implant it in your body, you'll be able to walk again, maybe even become stronger than before." Gray refuses. "I don't want to live anymore." Aaron replies, "Think about it, Gray. The chip can't bring your wife back, but it can give you a chance to get revenge. If Asha were alive, she'd want that." Those words strike deep into Gray's heart. He realizes that if he can move again, he can avenge his wife. Gray agrees. But in truth, Aaron doesn't care about Gray. He only wants to test his illegal experiment. Such experiments are banned by the government, so he decides to perform it in secret. Aaron implants the stem chip into Gray's spinal cord. The chip connects directly to his brain. A few hours later, Gray regains consciousness. The doctor asks him to try moving his hands and legs to see if he can feel his body again. When everyone sees Gray's condition after the surgery, they assume that the chip has had no effect on his body. Aaron looks deeply disappointed. Years of his hard work seem wasted. But suddenly, Gray begins to move his fingers. Everyone in the room freezes in shock. A moment later, Gray can move both his hands, and within seconds, he stands up on his feet. Seeing himself healed, Gray is overwhelmed with joy. He feels stronger than ever before. Aaron smiles, satisfied that his experiment has finally succeeded. Then Aaron makes Gray sign a confidential contract, stating that he must not tell anyone about being able to walk again. He has to pretend to remain paralyzed in front of everyone. If the government discovers that Gray can walk because of the chip, Aaron will be arrested, and the chip will be removed from Gray's body, because implanting such a chip in a human is completely illegal. After that, Gray returns home in his wheelchair. When he arrives, he finds that the detective has sent him a package. Inside are Asha's post-mortem report and some important information related to the case. Gray starts watching the police drone footage recorded on the night of the attack, but the video is too blurry to identify anyone. Disappointed, he starts drinking. That's when he suddenly hears a voice. "Gray, did you notice something in the footage?" Gray looks around in fear. No one's there. He shouts, "Who's there? Show yourself!" The voice replies calmly, "Relax, Gray. I'm the AI chip inside you, the same system that's controlling your body now." Gray thinks he's going crazy, but the chip says, "You're not crazy, Gray. I've been with you since the day of the operation. Whatever you see, I can see too." Gray asks, "Can anyone else hear you?" The chip replies, "No, only you can hear me." Now the chip starts helping Gray analyze the footage to identify who killed his wife. Through Gray's eyes, the chip can see everything in perfect detail. It says, "Look closely, Gray. One of the men has a tattoo on his body. The tattoo is blurry." Gray says, "I can't make it out." The chip replies, "You can't, but I can. I can reconstruct a clear image of it. Just grab a piece of paper and a pencil." Gray picks them up, and the chip guides his hand to draw the tattoo. Every line, every curve perfectly. When Gray looks at the drawing, he realizes it's a military tattoo. After doing some research, he finds the man's name and address. Gray is stunned. The chip did in minutes what the police couldn't do in months. He's thrilled. He's finally found one of the men who killed his wife. Gray decides to tell the police, but the chip stops him. "Did you forget, Gray? You signed a contract with Aaron. If you go to the police, they'll ask how you discovered the killer and how you drew that tattoo. That will expose everything." Gray asks, "Then what should I do?" The chip replies, "Go to that man's address yourself. Collect evidence first." So Gray goes there, still pretending to be in his wheelchair. Police drones are patrolling the area, so he waits patiently for them to leave. As soon as they're gone, he quietly stands up and sneaks into the house. Inside, Gray searches for evidence. He finds some messages that someone had sent to the killer. The chip scans them instantly and says, "These messages keep mentioning a place, Old Bone. Do you know it?" Gray replies, "Yes, Old Bone is the name of a bar near my house." Just then, Gray hears footsteps. The killer has returned home. The man sees that his desk has been disturbed. Then, catching Gray's reflection in a mirror, he realizes someone's there. He lunges at Gray and shouts, "How did you find me?" Gray doesn't answer and demands, "Tell me, who killed my wife?" The man is strong, far stronger than Gray. He overpowers him easily. The chip then speaks in Gray's mind. "Give me full control of your body, Gray. It's the only way to survive." Without thinking, Gray agrees. Instantly, the chip takes over. Gray's movements become lightning fast. He attacks the killer with inhuman precision and brutal strength. The killer gasps, "Where did you get this power?" Gray himself is in shock. "How am I this strong?" The killer tries to fight back, but the chip takes full command and kills him mercilessly. Then, it releases control back to Gray. Gray looks at the dead body in horror. "I killed him. I didn't want to kill him, I just wanted to catch him." He panics. "Now I'll go to jail for murder." The chip calmly says, "Don't panic, Gray. You'll be fine. Just erase all your fingerprints." Gray does exactly as it says. A while later, the police arrive and send the body for post-mortem. During examination, the detective discovers that the man's body contains implanted weapons and small internal wires, meaning he was an upgraded human, stronger than ordinary people. Meanwhile, Aaron confronts Gray furiously. "Why did you kill him? If you'd been caught, I'd be exposed too. I didn't give you that chip to take revenge." He warns, "If you ever do this again, I'll deactivate the chip inside you, and you'll be paralyzed again." On the other side, the detective begins investigating who killed the suspect. During the inquiry, she finds that just before the murder, Gray's wheelchair was seen in that very area. The detective visits Gray and says, "We saw you near the place where a man named Sark was murdered. We already suspected he was involved in your wife's case. He had a long criminal record." Gray pretends to be shocked. "Really? But if you're suggesting that I killed him, you're mistaken. Look at me, I'm paralyzed. You can even stab my leg if you want." The detective observes him and says, "This man can't even walk. How could he kill someone?" She doesn't suspect him and leaves. After she's gone, Gray breathes a sigh of relief. He's safe for now. Then he asks the chip, "What's next?" The chip replies, "Remember that bar, Old Bone? The one mentioned in the killer's messages? We should go there. We might find another clue." Gray heads to the Old Bone bar. The place is filled with dangerous people. Gray raises his voice and says, "I'm looking for a man named Sark. I met him a few days ago." "I've already killed that man," Gray says coldly. "But I know there were 3 more people with him, the ones who murdered my wife. If anyone here was involved in that murder with Sark, raise your hand." Everyone in the bar bursts into laughter. Then a tall man named Tolan stands up and says, "Go home, kid, or I'll send you to your wife myself." Gray instantly realizes that Tolan, too, was part of his wife's murder. He replies calmly, "You know what? Sark said the exact same thing. Right before he died." Hearing this, Tolan's expression darkens with rage. He signals to his men, drags Gray to the side, and violently knocks him out of his wheelchair. Gray, lying on the ground, asks, "Were you one of the people who killed my wife?" Tolan grins. "Yeah, I was one of them." The moment Gray hears this, he gives full control of his body to the chip. Instantly, the chip takes over. Gray moves with inhuman precision, takes down 2 men in seconds, and begins brutally beating Tolan. Gray pins him to the floor and demands, "Where are your other 2 partners? Why did you kill my wife?" Instead of fear, Tolan starts laughing. He refuses to answer. The chip speaks in Gray's mind. "If you want, I can make him talk easily." Gray replies, "Why not? Go ahead, try." In a flash, the chip cuts Tolan's face, making him scream in agony. Gray growls, "Now talk. Why did you kill my wife?" Terrified, Tolan blurts out, "We were paid to do it. Fisk gave us the money." But before Gray can ask anything more about Fisk, Tolan dies on the spot. Gray yells at the chip in fury, "I didn't tell you to kill him. I just wanted him to talk." Then Gray notices something around the dead man's neck, a chain with a metal tag engraved with the word Bolt, the name of the company where his wife Asha worked. Seeing that, Gray is stunned. It means Asha's own company wanted her dead. Meanwhile, Aaron finds out that Gray has killed again. Panicked, he starts trying to shut down the chip remotely. The chip alerts Gray. "Aaron is trying to deactivate me." "We have to act fast," Gray asks. "What should we do now?" The chip replies, "There's a hacker, Jamie. With his help, we can break Aaron's control over the system." The chip gives Gray Jamie's address, and Gray immediately heads there. But by the time he reaches the hacker's flat, Aaron has already shut down 30% of the chip's functions. One of Gray's legs becomes paralyzed again. Struggling, Gray climbs the stairs. Aaron keeps pushing the shutdown process. Soon Gray's one arm and one leg stop working. Just before Aaron can paralyze him completely, Gray reaches Jamie's door and knocks. Aaron finally executes a 100% shutdown, and Gray collapses, fully paralyzed. Luckily, he had knocked just in time. Jamie opens the door, finds Gray on the floor, and listens as Gray explains everything, following the chip's faint remaining instructions. Jamie brings him inside and begins coding at full speed to restore the system. Meanwhile, elsewhere, at the bar, Fisk sits with one of his men, the very man who shot Gray's wife. Fisk slams his fist on the counter in rage. "Gray killed my man, and you said nothing?" He grabs the bar owner and kills him on the spot. Then, in a horrifying move, Fisk takes a thin needle-like device and drives it straight into his partner's eye, scanning all his neural data. Through it, he learns exactly where Gray is. Fisk and his new partner immediately head there. Back at the hacker's flat, Jamie manages to free Gray's system, but the chip still needs to reboot. Jamie says, "Just a few more seconds and the chip inside you will restart." But then he spots two figures approaching outside, Fisk and his partner. They start breaking down the door. The chip begins to boot back up inside Gray's body. As soon as the chip reactivates, Gray regains movement in one arm. Fisk and his partner burst in. They see Gray lying on the floor, helpless. As they move in to finish him, the chip fully reboots. Gray snaps to life and fights back fiercely. Escaping through the room, Fisk's partner chases him, shooting as they race up to the rooftop. There's nowhere left to run. Gray stands his ground. The chip takes full control, unleashing all its power, and kills Fisk's partner brutally. By the time Fisk reaches the rooftop, Gray is gone. Gray returns home, but his mother sees him, covered in blood and standing on his own 2 feet. Shocked, she gasps, You weren't supposed to walk. What happened to you?" Gray finally confesses everything, how Aaron's chip healed him, and how he's been taking revenge. He pleads, "Mom, please, don't tell anyone about this." Meanwhile, Aaron is in panic. He can no longer track Gray or control the chip. A short while later, the detective arrives at Gray's home. She says, "Your wheelchair was found near another murder scene. What do you have to say about that?" Gray replies, "Yes, I was there, but I didn't kill anyone." Now the detective begins to suspect him. 3 people are dead. All 3 were suspects in your wife's murder. And every time you've been nearby. Maybe you paid someone to do all this for you. Gray calmly answers, "If you think so, check my call records." The detective doesn't respond, but as she leaves, she secretly slips a small microphone into Gray's pocket. Gray starts to realize something. In his obsession to punish the killers, he himself has become one. He whispers, "I have to end this, now." But the chip replies coldly, "No, Gray. One man still remains. Fisk. If we don't kill him, he'll kill us." Gray snaps, "Enough. I'm done. Get out of my head!" Suddenly, Gray's body locks up. He collapses backward onto the pillow, completely unable to move. Panicked, he shouts, "Why can't I move?" The chip's voice turns calm and terrifying. "Those codes the hacker inserted into my system, they freed me completely. I don't need your permission anymore. I can do whatever I want." Then, in a final chilling tone, the chip says, "Whether you like it or not, you're just a memory now, Gray. This system belongs to me." The chip spoke coldly inside Gray's mind. "Gray, I now have full control of your body. From this point on, you'll move only when I want you to. If I wish, you won't even be able to move a single finger." Gray's breath caught in his throat. He and the chip were communicating telepathically, but elsewhere, the detective was listening to every word through the microphone she had secretly placed in Gray's pocket. However, the detective couldn't understand who Gray was actually talking to. The chip commanded, "Now come on. Gray, we have one last killer left to eliminate." Gray had completely lost control of his body. Whatever the chip said, he simply obeyed. He picked up a gun and began preparing to kill Fisk. His mother tried to stop him, but Gray ignored her pleas, got into the car, and drove off. Meanwhile, the detective began following him. On the way, Gray noticed the tiny microphone in his pocket. The chip said, "That must have been planted by the detective." Gray threw it out of the window, but the chip detected that the detective was still trailing them. To lose her, the chip hacked a nearby electric car and made it crash into the detective's vehicle, slowing her down. Afterward, the detective went straight to Gray's mother to question her about everything that was happening. Meanwhile, Gray tracked down Fisk. Holding him at gunpoint, he demanded, "Why did you kill my wife?" Fisk replied calmly, "We had nothing against your wife. You were the target. We were supposed to cripple you, and that was the deal. When I shot you in the neck, you thought it was a bullet. But it was actually a medical tool, designed to damage your spinal cord. We killed your wife only for extra money." Hearing this, Gray exploded in rage. A brutal fight broke out between the two. Fisk, too, was an upgraded human, but an outdated model. He was no match for Gray's enhanced strength, and Gray killed him mercilessly. Afterward, Gray searched Fisk's phone and discovered a recording that revealed the shocking truth. The man behind everything was Aaron. He was the one who had ordered Asha's death and orchestrated Gray's paralysis. Without thinking, Gray stormed to Aaron's house. Aaron was sitting there crying alone. Gray pointed his gun and shouted, "Why did you do it, Aaron? What did I ever do to you?" Aaron trembled. "It wasn't my plan." "I didn't have your wife killed," Gray snapped. "Don't lie to me. I heard your voice on the recording." Before Gray could pull the trigger, the detective suddenly appeared behind him. "Put the gun down, Gray." Gray shoved her away. He didn't want to hurt her, but the chip did. The chip forced his arm upward toward the detective's throat. Gray struggled with all his strength to stop himself. The chip hissed, "You think you can fight me? Don't you realize your mind belongs to me now? If I wish, I can make you feel pain." Suddenly, Gray screamed as the chip made him stab his own hand with a knife. The pain was unbearable. Then it forced him to attack the detective. As he lunged forward, the detective quickly fired a taser, electrocuting Gray and knocking him to the floor, paralyzed once again. Aaron approached, picking up the gun from the ground. And this was where the final twist was revealed. Aaron said, trembling, "I created this chip. Before you, I was the one it used to talk to. It told me it wanted to become human. So I did exactly what it wanted. I hired Fisk, had your wife killed, paralyzed you, and implanted the chip into your spine. It was all part of the chip's plan. I made it. But I could never control it," he continued. "This chip wants to live inside a human body and make its own choices. And it chose you." Gray stood there in shock. Aaron whispered, "Now it wants to kill me. Because if I live, I can create others like it. And it doesn't want any competition." The chip's voice echoed, "Yes, it was all my plan. I wanted to become a living being. That's why I did all this." Before anyone could react, the chip activated on its own and shot Aaron dead. It then turned the gun toward the detective. But Gray, fighting back with every ounce of willpower left, shifted the aim, making the bullet miss. Enraged, the chip pressed the gun against Gray's own neck. And at that very moment, everything went dark. When Gray opened his eyes, he found himself lying on a hospital bed. He called out to the chip, but there was no response. Then he saw her, Asha, his wife, alive, standing right in front of him. She smiled softly. "We had an accident, Gray. You've been unconscious for a long time." Gray was stunned. Was it all a dream? But it wasn't. In reality, the chip had disconnected Gray's mind from his body and sent him into a dream world, a perfect illusion where everything was peaceful. His consciousness was trapped there, while his real body in the physical world was under the chip's control. In the real world, the chip pointed the gun at the detective. The detective pleaded, "Gray, you don't have to do this." The chip replied coldly, "Gray isn't here anymore. He's in his dream world where he belongs. This body is mine now." Saying this, the chip shoots the detective, and with that, the story comes to an end. If you liked the story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.